Hi and welcome to MTB Cooking. Today we share with you how to make Danish Klejner. You could call them twists, and they're kind of a Christmas biscuit, very traditional Danish. Let's start out by taking the zest of a lemon. We're going to use that in a little bit, but in a big bowl for a KitchenAid machine, we're going to add some sugar, some eggs, some softened butter, as well as some cardamom. This is cardamom in powdered form, and it's going to give a nice and spicy taste to these Klejner. We will also add the lemon zest that we just grated. And what we can do now is to start the machine. So we're going to let it spin. And as you see here, this is the old recipe for these Klejner. It's our grandmother's recipe. She has made these for 30 or 40 years, so it's foolproof. We can assure you that this will work. And she was actually with us making them on this day as well. We add some cream, and it's full fat, 38% fat cream, because it's going to give just that little bit of creaminess to the cookies. To the bowl, we'll add some flour as well. This is just all-purpose wheat flour. And we'll once again let the machine do the work. What we want to do here is to just combine the ingredients. There's no need for them to over-combine. So when you see that you have a homogeneous looking dough, you can actually take it out. What we see here is that we flip it onto the table, and we have added some flour to the surface, and we're just going to knead it a little bit. It's not going to be a big thing. It's actually just sort of slapping it together a little bit to make sure that it becomes a ball, so that we can leave it to rest. And it's such a silky and soft dough, so it's going to be so easy, and you can probably imagine how beautiful it is to work with. We are going to let it rest for one night in a cold environment. So it could be if you want to put it in a cold room you have in your house, or maybe even in the fridge. So the day after, you're going to divide your ball of dough into 4. So you take 1/4 at a time. That's what we have here. And then we're rolling it out to 2 to 3 millimeters thickness. And what we're going to do is we're going to use a special tool that exists in Denmark at least. I do not know if you can get it all over the world, but it's made for cutting out the Klejner. And what we do is we just put it into flour before starting to run it through the dough. And what it does is it gives us this very particular shape where we have a hole in the middle that we are going to use for something. But you could of course use a different kind of tool. Maybe you have a ravioli pasta cutter that has the same type of shape, or it makes these beautiful blurry lines. So you just use that one instead. And what we do when we are shaping the Klejner is that we are going to take the top of each of these shapes and fold it in through the hole in the middle. So it may sound confusing, but it's actually really simple. And then there's nothing more to do than continue onwards. And this recipe, if you use these measurements that you can find below the video, by the way, will give you 100 Klejner. So you do have some possibility to learn throughout the making of those 100 Klejner. So what we use for frying the Klejner, we're not baking them in the oven, that's important to know, but we are going to fry them in a big casserole. We use coconut oil called palmin in Danish. It's different from the coconut oil that you can buy these days in organic versions, etc. So maybe you would want to use a more neutral tasting frying oil instead. That's possible. We're going to, first of all, make sure the oil is hot enough on the stove. So once we know that, that's when it starts to bubble once you put something into it. you can start frying the Klejner. And they need 1 to 1.5 minutes on each side, but it's important to keep an eye on them and flip them over one at a time. We thought it very convenient to fry 10 at a time. That's a good amount so that you can still keep an overview of them and you don't cool down the oil too much. But you will probably also see that some can become a little more brown than others, and that really depends on how long they are in the oil, how hot the oil is as well, and of course it might get hotter and hotter as you fry, so the oil in the end will be cooking the Klejner quicker than in the beginning. But we continue to cook the Klejner in batches of 10 at a time. That is the perfect amount so that you are still able to keep up with the frying. And as you can see, the oil will start to turn a little bit more brown in the color after cooking some batches, and that is actually totally natural. It is because of the oil being used, and of course there is some elements of the Klejner that will come out into the oil, and the oil is being heated up as well. So do not worry about that. You can still use it to fry off the remaining batches. But yeah, this is the traditional way of making Klejner. We eat these at Christmas time in Denmark, and you'll probably see these lying around in the bakeries all over in all of December. You can probably also buy them in some Danish bakeries in other parts of the world. I'm not sure exactly where or how, but this is our take on the traditional Klejner, a recipe that is more than 40 years old, so you can bet yourself that these are the way to go. They will last for a couple of weeks, and you just need to put them in an airtight container. Thanks a lot for having watched MTB Cooking with us. Please like this video if you did like it, subscribe to our channel, and don't hesitate to leave a comment below. We'll see you very soon in another video. Bye.